Okay, I'm just making a new starting for this video. I was actually logged in and recording earlier, but I hopped away while I was giving time for the tracker to actually rack up some data so that I could look at what the memory usage was. I get so far as to discuss how to put in the memory use tracker because we had a report that the code I was using might be lagging for somebody. And I was actually going to investigate that and see what kind of results I got. Unfortunately, I checked back and I had been forcibly logged out of Second Life, and now looking at it again, I'm unable to get back in. So, unfortunately, this means I wasn't able to complete today's video, and I will go ahead and give you the part that I had just so that if anybody wants to take advantage of that and look at the results, they have something for this week. Um, but I'm not able to truly finish it. So, regrettably, that is where we are left for this week. So, without any further ado, I present the part I was able to record. Hello again, and welcome back. As usual, this is Becca, normally going by Nightcat or Nightcat's Meow when online. Meow. And welcome back for another week where I talk to you about Linden scripting language. A couple things to go over before we dive right into it. First off, I want to especially thank Kizzy from the Discord server. You've been really good at getting in there and answering early questions, anything that you know the answer to. I really appreciate that. Any of you that join up after this video, make sure to say hi to her. She's been picking this stuff up really well, and she's actually been able to answer things when I've been busy and away. So make sure you give her the props she deserves, and if she has an answer for you, it's probably the right one. And beyond that, I had specific comments about last week's tutorial from a couple of people. One of them, somebody pointing out that they were not able to get the names when a person had left the region. I actually looked into that, and that was a limitation of key to name that I hadn't bumped into before because I hadn't used it in quite this way, but I did look up a way to get those names when the person is not in the region. It's just a little more complicated. So we will go over that modification to the code today. And the other thing is somebody had talked about the code seeming to lag down their sim. Now, I've looked into this a bit, and it doesn't seem that this is the kind of thing that should be too bad unless you're in a particularly high traffic area and wind up with a really, really long list of keys and associated numbers. But we're going to put in some code that will help us test that. So, check my notes real quick to remember what I'm looking up here. There it is. Don't worry, even checking my notes, I'm not gonna cut y'all out of seeing what's going on. First thing we're gonna do script profiler. This will help us go ahead and get an actual look at the memory that's utilized. It needs only one simple flag, either profile none or profile script memory. So we'll pop this back open. I am going to go ahead and run two different profiles here. One for its regular timer event here, and the other for when we're reading it back. Now, looking at the wiki, because I haven't used this command before, alright, it suggests you start it, you do the thing, and then you turn it off. And then you'll be able to get SP max memory. Okay. Always good to take a look when you're dealing with something you have not dealt with before. So just copy and pasted the script profiler into place. Trying to get it, won't let me actually select that, so I'm going to have to enter those manually. Profile none. Profile, script, memory. And then at the end, we'll take the example of the owner say from there. This script used at most get fp max memory bytes of memory during my function. So that is a good way to get a look at that. Put those in. Now, of course, if you're going to be setting this up, a thing you may want to do is set this to only show up when you're actually running a debug on it. You don't necessarily need to do this all the time. So if debug, and since this one is 2 lines, if debug and again in here, if debug and if debug. And since we still have debug marked true, those will operate. Again, the debug integer up here is a really good way to just turn off stuff you only need during testing at times when you won't actually need it. So we're going to give this a couple of minutes for this to actually run at least 2 cycles of its check so that I can get any type of information on its script load. And I will go ahead afterwards. I will show you another little thing that I frequently use just so we can compare the script load of this to something that I know is incredibly simple. So I'm going to go ahead and cut here, and then I'll cut back after I've gathered my information. All right. Let's see if it will let me log in again this time. I'd already paused the recording after getting done what I showed you, and then I got the notice that I was disconnected. I am now trying to see if I can get back in. There is a notice for unscheduled maintenance to voice and ticket systems. But those are supposed to be resolved. Everything is supposed to be operational, but I can't get in. Unfortunately, this means I gotta put things off for a week. My apologies, but if I can't get in, there's not much I can do. Okay. Yep, specific login failed. Status page. Well, there is usually the Discord, and on weeks that I don't have trouble logging in or some other problem, I do put videos up every Tuesday by noon Eastern Standard Time. So let's cross our fingers and hope this doesn't happen to us next week. I can try to get a recording in early at another point, but this week has been kind of an overfilled one between dealing with housemate stuff, my mother having got a hip replacement recently, and a couple of other issues. I've had a lot of things on my mind and going on, so I haven't exactly been ahead of the curve on things. So, but clearly this shows I need to get into a habit of being ahead on recordings and dealing with all of that. So, my apologies. I will take the blame because I was putting this off until the last minute. So, therefore, my fault. My apologies. But I did at least get the research part done, so I will be able to have the right information for you all on how to overcome these problems. Thank you again. Do check out the Discord. There will be links in the description as always, despite the fact there isn't much content. So, good day, good luck, happy coding.